How you wore it was again a matter of personal preference. I like to wear this one tucked back here usually, where I can draw it and bring it into play. I have a gun rig. Sometimes I'll wear it on the other side with a cross draw. Really, you would just play around whatever is personal preference. Gripping the Bowie. All right, we're going to do the handshake grip or whatever, however you want to call it. It's what everybody's familiar with, where it comes across the hand like that. You don't want to get a hammer grip just yet. Bring it down like that, bring the fingers around, and that puts the blade forward.
So sort of like a saber?
Yeah.
Kind of saber grip.
And you can go between, and you'll see when I'm doing stuff, you can go between the handshake grip and the saber grip a lot. I'll switch it around. You also want to get used to using that thumb to roll the blade in the hand, or the inverted grip. I've seen it called the Mediterranean grip. You'll see this if you take the Navajo with James. So just getting used to the feel of the knife in your hand. You want the motion to come from the wrist. So just take, let's spread out. We got all
Yeah, we got more.
Like I knew this class was going to be bigger.
Yeah, this is awesome. All right. So that is like your standard relaxed grip. Now, at times, you may have to pull it into the hand, into that hammer grip, especially when blocking a heavier weapon. It's another time where the inverted grip is really good. If I'm going up against somebody that maybe is coming in with a stick or anything like that, I can make that block and reinforce that block. Okay?
That's a big aesthetic.
Yeah. So if he's coming in, I can make that block and then start to come in. You'll notice that I'm not going to do this. I stay there. All right. Yeah, I want to get in there, roll it over if I can, and then come in. So get used to switching between those grips. Now, your guards. Just call them guards for lack of a better term, but basically your fighting stance should be just your natural fighting posture if you were going to be in a strong lead. In a strong lead if you're right-handed, secondary lead if you're right-handed. All right, so take a strong lead. A lot of people will like to come here with the knife sometimes. I prefer to come here first because the bow is a large knife. No need to come here right away. Stay loose, stay relaxed, and just take a few minutes getting into that stance where you can move around. Now here's one of the things about recreating historical martial arts of any kind. You have to take into account clothing and, in particular, footwear of the period. What we can do in this carpet and our nice tennis shoes and all that, not always going to be the case in period clothing. Especially 19th century clothing tended to be snug, it tended to keep you a little more upright. So keep that in mind when you're moving around. That said, you might have stripped down to just your shirt, so you'd be able to move a little more, but those pants were tight. I don't know if you've ever worn period pants, but they're a little snug. So keep that in mind as you're moving, and how the footwear would also influence that, how the terrain. You should always train on a lot of different terrain, as much terrain as possible. And I'm a big believer in doing some training in period clothing just to understand how that will influence your movement. It's like if you train to fight in armor, and you never wear armor, what are you doing? Okay? So that said, keep that in mind as we're doing this. First thing we're going to do is the mid guard, the medium guard, just a ready posture. Think of these more as moments in time rather than static guards. I'm in my fighting stance where I know I can move comfortably. And I just kind of bring my arm out and then just let it settle. I got my left hand up here, not back here on the hip, not pulling it back here. Because this is a fight. This isn't a duel. And if I have to take a cut, I would rather take that on the outside of my arm. Problem with the Bowie, it could be very, very damaging. But it would be better that than taking it across the face of the neck. The blade is towards my opponent. I'm not straight on, but I've kind of got it angled here. Bowies are so quick that you've got to be ready to turn that hand and make the block. I just realized I didn't keep any rubber trainers for us. Sucks to be I got one. Well, when we get into some of the techniques, it's more important that you guys have them
Yeah.
Because you're actually going to be making contact. So this is our mid guard. All right. You'll notice I'm pretty covered, but I also want to be mobile. I want to be able to move around. Okay. Nice and relaxed. And footwork. I mean, we've all done footwork. I can advance. I can draw. I can pass forward and backwards, and all of that. So again, spread out a little. Take just a few minutes to move around.
Why don't you go ahead and pair up actually right now with someone, so you've got that feel of engaging a distance with your partner.
Talk about Bowie and sometimes other weapons. Some people will use a numbering system where it's like 1, 2. To me, with the way that I teach it, angle 1 always comes from the weapon hand on a downward diagonal. So angle 1, I'm going to come here and I'm going to bring it through. And this is going to be a cut, not a chop. I'm coming here and I'm drawing it through. I make impact, I put pressure, bring the blade through, relax and come back around, right into cut 2. So you're just cutting a big X. Down, down. Don't throw the blade too far in preparation. I don't need to come here, it's just here. The blade is heavy, let the blade do the work. All right? Down and down. So let's do angles 1 and 2. You're not just going to put it in and withdraw it. Once the thrust makes contact and I need to free that blade after, and this is not me just being graphic and trying to be, ooh, how nasty can we be? This is going to make that far more traumatic. This is bad. This is far worse. And what I do is I then tear it out and bring it into the other angle. All right, so 1 and 2 are still coming on that angle, but I'm bringing it here. Okay, once I've made that attack, I pull it out, and notice as I tear it out, I bring my arm into position to throw that other one. Also, there will be times where you will have to give point. This isn't going to do much. This is going to do a lot more. Okay, so be ready to drive that point through if you have to. All right, so slowly, 1, 2. So you're coming here. 1, bringing it out, 2. Okay, I tear it out, I drop it down. 3, think about going up under the rib cage. Ripping forward. 4. Okay, so again we've done that X. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are still going to be horizontal. All right, so keep doing those. You know, I've seen movies where you've got the guys in with the small commando knives, and of course they're here. And you hear this clack, 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 and yeah. But a large knife has some mass to it. So I'm going to be able to use that to my advantage. The first thing that we're going to do, we're just going to range out of the way and counter his attack. He's going to come in with that angle 1 cut. All right, slowly. Now, let's look at all that I've got to work with here. He's coming in. If I stay here, I'm hit. Okay, and when you're doing this, don't try, it shouldn't be a competition. We're training. Throw it in there, give them something to work with, but give them the chance to respond, to learn the technique. Don't just barrel in there. So he comes in, and I'm watching a lot of different things. I'm seeing where his body movement and all of that is. What's the easiest thing for me to do? What is the best defense right here?
Get out of the way.
Get out of the way, okay? And this is where understanding range and timing is so important, because as he comes in, if I move too late, I'm hit. If I move too early, he just keeps coming in. Okay, he comes in, I got to move just at the right time. All right, so that's the first part of my defense. I just move out of the way. I don't need to do this. All right, because now I've just pulled myself out of the attack. So he comes in.
I know what I'm dealing with then too.
Pop.
The prancing pony attack. He is unstoppable. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. Now, what is my most direct line of attack? What is threatening me here?
His arm.
His arm. Exactly. Now, if I hit his hands, he can't hold the weapon. All right, with the Bowie knife, looks like Christmas. If I hit him in the hand and he loses a couple of fingers, then that's a good thing for me. Okay, so first what we're going to do is we're going to target the fingers as we switch to the metal, so it'll hurt more. So, nice and slow. He comes in. As that's coming in, I just shift slightly back, and I just bring it into there. Now, I'm not going to stop him. I could make a parry and stop here, but I don't want to. I want to cut, because as that continues through, then my most direct line of attack is going right into the neck. Okay? Does that make sense? Rather than stop his action, if he comes in, I could come here, but then both of our actions have stopped. All right? Whereas if I just take the fingers, void just a little bit, I can go right into there, I can drive that right down into the hip. All right? Now, this is important because I believe if you can get in and hit once, you can hit 300 to 400 times. All right? So I hit, and before he can start to come back, because remember, dying is a long way from death. And that didn't kill him, that just maybe took a couple of fingers. And even if it didn't, that's why I'm moving out of the way and coming in. All right? Just in case that didn't work. I fire that in there, I can then come into the ribs. I'm going to continue moving in. That's where he's going. I should have already moved in here with that inside his hip. Digging that around. Then I can get in there and fire it up into the armpit. So going very slow, very easy on the fingers, I want you to do this. The attacker comes in, step out, hit the hand, and then just take a step and just touch him right under the arm. All right? Gently. Coming there,
Question?
which way do I want to take that blade?
To his inside.
Okay?
You wanna be outside?
Ideally, if I can, I want to get outside the box. Inside the box, outside the box. If we look at each other, now we're inside the box. If we both move over here, now we're both outside the box. Whenever possible, I want to be outside my opponent's box. So if that thrust is coming in, he gave me that high line thrust. I can range. I can also do that same move, but basically this time I'm affecting a parry. The problem with this gets into the timing. I can also, if he's coming in, come right into the hand. What's the problem with coming inside the box? He's got that other hand, so you have to be ready to deal with that. All right, so if I'm going to come inside, I'm going to, again, smother him. And I know people are going to say, well, he can stick you with that. Has anybody ever taken a forearm smash to the neck or face? You're usually not thinking of anything other than, damn, that really hurt. Okay? And it's not going to be this nice, gentle thing. I'm going to move in on him. All right, you see what he does there. As soon as I've moved in, I'm going to stick him. All right? So,
Keep in mind also that when he does that forearm smash, it knocks me completely off my base. My mind is telling my body to reestablish its base so it doesn't fall down. And that's what it's focused on. It isn't focused on this at all. And it won't be. And it can't do two things simultaneously. So it's going to have to get its base first before it considers going back on it. He's safe with that attack.
okay, so we're going to try it two ways. Now, ideally, if I can, if that's coming in, I just want to get out of here. But what if that's not an option to move back? So that's why we're going to try a different way. We'll do this one first. Now, you'll notice I targeted the blade. Again, I can do the blade. Stay up after I
Oh, sure.
What's another direct line I have right here?
Knuckles.
Right into the hand. Okay? Just skin those knuckles. You see him flinch every... All right?
You see that scar? You see that scar?
Was that me? He wants one on the other hand. Just like me. So I can go right into the hand, but
Look where he is.
I know. All right, so he comes in, and I can parry here. Come right in there. All right, he can come in with that other hand. That's fine. I'm still going to work that blade in there.
That is hand versus knife.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Now, what's nice about the Bowie is this will usually be very, very sharp. So this type of action, whether I catch there, That was soft.
Yeah.
Back and cut, all right? Right in there. So take your time and play around. Just get that parry, and then see what else you have, all right? That's why it's a concept. I want you to see what else you have there, okay? I can go right in there. I can come down, but you have to be ready for that other hand. That other hand comes in. I cut. I'm checking. I'm going to fire that right in there. Okay? Got it?
Always with
But
the
there's
back
no
of the
meat there, right?
Pardon?
You're blocking and parrying always with the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're doing a back parry here. Okay, he comes in. I'm taking it that way, okay? Using the back of that blade against the edge. And what I'm doing is as I do that, I just kind of pop it into that hammer grip for just a second. Just put the blade out. You'd be surprised.
Sorry.
It always comes at the best time.
You'd be surprised how much you can actually get behind that just by popping those fingers. I don't need to take his blade all the way over there. Subtle. All I have to do is, and I'm in there. All right?
If he does take his blade all the way over there, he's really, it might not mind far enough out, but if I'm a savvy enough fighter, I'm going to come in on this here. And now he's not in a good place at that point, We're kind of both in a shitty spot. So, yeah, that quick pop is going to really push mine forward. And it's going to keep him in line. All right?
Okay, so all you're doing, he comes in there, so it's going to be that high line angled thrust. Take one, go into the inside, get ready to move in, and then take one, parrying it to the outside, and move in. Got it?
Got it.
Again, and he did that. That's pretty much all I remember for a good few seconds because he took me out. Even with the heavy helmet on, he hit and I just went flying to the side and was down. Not completely out, but there was a good couple of seconds where I didn't know what was going on. And he didn't have to do this. That's all it was there, boom. And it laid me out. I had no way of coming back after he had done that. As soon as that happened, that was coming across. So yes, I'm not checking that arm. It may look dangerous going slow in training.
It doesn't matter. Right? Look at my. Go ahead and take a shot. Right? No, I mean in distance. Take your shot. If I'm lucky, I'll get a tip on it. If I'm lucky, and if I'm actually going in farther to get deeper on it, I'm just actually making it worse for myself. Right? So, he's ranging with me because he's in distance with me and I'm out of distance for him. Barely, but I am.
All you're doing.
Right? He's safe.
And done quick, he comes in. It's there. Obviously, I pulled back for.
Thank you.
Because Doc's a sissy. I mean, that's real. All right? But you see how it brings him right into that range. As he's coming in at me, he's right there. Boom. Even if that starts coming around, I got a face cut, I can still come back in. Okay? At most, I took a cut across the chest. It's a knife fight. You're probably going to get cut. That's the reality of it. Try to get cut minimally as possible.
Less than the other guy.
Yeah. All right, so be very, very slow and gentle with this weapon in the right situation. All right, so we've got these back parries that we can do. Now let's say he's coming in with a good sweeping cut. All right, we're here and he's just really angry. He's coming at me and he's bringing in one of those 5 or 6 cuts. All right? Again, with the Bowie knife, I can affect a static block. That's going to slow down the motion. Whenever possible, you want to get out of the way. All right, so he's going to come in. Let's say he's going to cut me across. Yeah, come in across the belt. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to void, but we're going to do the same type of motion. All we're going to do this time is we're going to bring the blade like this. All right? Okay. As he comes in, let's do this out of distance. He's coming in. Go ahead. I'm coming here.
So you're stepping back?
I'm stepping back slightly, just enough to get out of the blade. So he comes in. Go ahead. One more time. All right, so this time when he comes in, I'm there. All right?
You knew that was coming.
No, I told me that.
So what's going to happen? Is that going to stop his momentum? Not if he's really coming in. Okay? It's going to keep going through. And I'm going to pull up, and I'm already going to be stepping through. What's my most direct line of attack here? Right into the face. I'm not pulling back here. It's there. Boom. Once I've done that, I push the head up, and then I can come in there. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. All right? So again, he comes in, there, let it check, boom. I can even come up into there. I can go down into there. Really, anything you do at this point. It doesn't get old.
Somebody send
You have to bring that all the
And it's
time.
like time. I know.
Remember, the rest of us have knives too.
Keep in mind also, I will most likely, depending on where along the forearm he hits with that, lose this knife. It's not going to stop my momentum. I'm still going, but I'm probably going to drop this knife.
Now-
Maybe scream like a little
Tendons are a thing.
odds
Don't
on.
exist.
Yeah.
I do have to admit here that what is a potential hazard to me doing this with the position my hand is in?
You might drop this first.
I might drop my knife. What happens then? I've just covered that. Then I just jump in, okay?
And it becomes unarmed.
When in doubt, gouge it out, all right? Right in there. Okay? So if that happens, he comes in, and it's, oh, I dropped my knife, then it's, I'm going in, all right? Then we get into, then we get into fisticuffs. Again, again, this is a fight, not a gentlemanly duel. So, comes in, I range, check, and come in. All right? Got it? Go nice and slow. Don't pull all the way back here. Just right in there. And think about a couple other things that you could do. 3 times minimum. 3 attacks on him minimum. All right? Go slow. A feeling for the weapon. It's not necessarily a combative technique, but we square off, and he comes in with that thrust, nice and, he'll come in nice and slow. And I'm going to do this parry, and then I'm going to thrust, and then he's going to parry, and then he's going to thrust. And we can change the range on it. I can come in tight on him. I can move back, draw him into me. We can add the checking the hand. All right, that's just a good drill to help develop that feeling for it. Now, let's talk about the Bowie as a dueling weapon. We've been looking at it up to this point as a fighting weapon. Now let's talk about it as a dueling weapon. Jose Lula ran a fencing style down in New Orleans. He taught small sword, Bowie, and pistol. All right, this is a man that ran a fencing academy, but also owned a cemetery. And offered discounts to the family of those that challenged him to duels on funeral services. So,
Was this in New Orleans?
yeah.
Okay.
And
Seriously, you guys think we're fucked up?
Don Jose Lula. Now, the thing is, he probably wasn't a Don. He probably wasn't a gentleman. The general consensus is he probably jumped ship down there and just knew how to fight. But he was pretty successful in teaching. So we know it was a popular dueling weapon in the South. Especially during the Civil War. Has anybody ever seen what looks like a Bowie knife put together backwards? Where sometimes they have the D guard and the blade is back there. That's because of that inverted grip that was so popular in the South that there were Bowies where they were made with the D guard here. It looks like the blade was put on backwards. There's a wonderful movie from the late 70s called The Long Riders, about the James Gang. And in it, there's this fight between David Carradine as Cole Younger and Sam Starr, played by James Remar. And they do a Missouri duel. Now, because that's just the way it is with men. Sometimes just a duel is not enough to show how tough and macho you are. Sometimes you've got to get crazy with it. So the Missouri Duel, they would actually bite a length of cord. Now, I'm not putting the belt in my mouth.
Listen, what can I say?
We don't have a cord, but basically, we'd be guarding on a cord. Now, we can't drop the cord and you also can't cut the cord. But you could do things like pull back on the cord and draw him in. But one of the things that I really liked about that film, and when I first saw it, confused me as a child, and then a little bit later until I learned about this inverted grip. Carradine's holding his knife like this. And I was like, he's holding the knife backwards. What a moron. Then I learned about it, and I was like, man, whoever did that,
I knew this.
they knew they did their research. But what we're going to do, since we don't have a cord, we're not going to do that one, but we are going to look at another fun one. Now, again, in the South, maybe it's the heat or something, around New Orleans, you have we're still not doing this one, but make a chaw on that, something.
You know what I'm
This is what we're looking at.
Oh, it's metal wire, it's hard to cut.
This is the guy who invented this was a dentist.
Now, he pulled me forward, and I would have gotten that right in there. Boom. All right. Oh, it's stuck on here. Keep it. All right. So yeah, stupidity. All right. But,
Badass stupidity.
and I'm sure they were probably drunk at the time. All right? But even better than that, wrists strapped together. Now, again, it's a duel, it's not a fight, so you had rules, all right? I could only go with a high line attack because this would be just
I'm
cheating.
jumping.
So you're here. And this gets really interesting. And this lead arm is no longer a target. The face is no longer a target. Okay? Those were the...
Take him in here.
And so then you get into all of this trying to get into here. All right? Again, we're not going to do this.
Can what?
Can you go to the back?
No.
Just this area here.
Oh, yeah.
Are you referring to get behind
Yeah,
him?
yeah, yeah.
Can you
Yeah,
like
Just
get
open
his
up,
arm
yeah, I
around?
can't pull him and
Yeah.
then stab him in the back.
Yeah.
You shot him in the back. That was in the back.
El Dorado.
I can,
Yes.
Great movie.
You basically have one line of attack.
yeah,
You can't go underneath
pretty
his
much
arms.
it.
You can't come underneath.
I can do this, if I can draw him in, bring that arm up, and I can take the arm.
Okay, but you can't go underneath his.
No.
Right, but I can't go underneath his. So the arm's available, but the chest is, I just can't do this arm. And the face. Got it?
Now, there, again, we know of one account of Jim Bowie fighting in a knife. Fighting in a knife fight. Only one recorded account. This is one of those legendary, maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. But take the nature of the man. An American hero, land swindler, slave trader, smuggler, occasional pirate.
All American.
Should have worked for the CIA. As long as he wasn't a politician. That's the problem.
And
Right.
plus he had a hair trigger temper. I'm pretty sure he got into a few other knife fights. So this one about him fighting with Jack Sturdivant probably happened. There's just no actual official record of it. It's just one of those things. There is a great take on it in a movie called The Iron Mistress with Alan Ladd. I highly recommend that. It's just a fun movie. Somebody should remake that.
Go ahead.
Give him time.
We're remaking everything.
But they got to get Jason Patrick back as Jim Bowie. I love him.
Those movie makers don't.
Bowie and Allen. Yeah. That's right. We are.
Well, how tall was he grow?
Things, again, things vary, but probably roughly around 6 foot. He was not Alan Ladd.
Oh.
So anyway, But these are two different types of dueling that you can practice with training weapons, the wrist strap together, the Missouri duel. But looking at it again as more of a dueling weapon than a fighting weapon, then you also see some of the changes in stance. So that's where you work into the Spanish stance, especially with that influence down in the South, guys like Jose Lula, where you're actually going to be here, all right, and using that circle. And again, whatever the rules are, whether it's first blood, whether it's more than likely first blood, you're actually using the knife in more of a fencing motion at this time. And that gives you another grip. You can call it, I call it the flat grip, but some people will call it the foil grip, where you can also be here. And that again allows me to affect different types of disarms and things like that. Disengaging, coming around, maybe trying to get that back cut to the hand just long enough to get in to the blade, to the body. All right? I think we're running out of, yes.
In a first blood situation, dueling wise, is a cut to the arm considered first blood? Or is it
Again,
cut
they
to the chest?
may have whatever rules.
It
They may
depends on
agree
the
to.
rules. Theoretically, yes, but they could specifically state in
Cut to the
their,
chest.
with their seconds could agree on, okay, it's gotta be first blood from the chest.
Right.
I mean, they can
Arms
make
don't.
any kind of rule they want, as long as
Because
it's
if
agreed
As
upon.
long as it's agreed.
Yeah, and the thing is, if it's just first blood to the hand, all right, one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And is honor satisfied?
No.
No. Right? So now we need to, then your seconds have to renegotiate, right?
Wouldn't they be wearing gloves?
It depends on the situation, no? I mean, that's not always.
All of the accounts that I've read about duels with the Bowie knife, they were usually stripped to the waist or just down to a shirt, sleeves rolled up, and it's not hard to see how a lot of the duels with Bowies then
Right.
kind of just fell apart into a fight.
There was one account where Jim Bowie and some other guy were astride a log and
Oh,
nailed
yeah.
their pants to the log so they couldn't go anywhere and fought there. It's this
Yeah.
ridiculous stuff they come up with, these rules and regs and what they're gonna do, so.
So are these supposed to be handicaps for people with different physical prowess or?
Again, I think alcohol was probably involved.
I'm sure.
I can beat you with my pants nailed to a log.
I can beat you with me nailed to a log. All right, so let's end it with any questions.